Hi, so family. Welcome to my channel. We talk about all things to heal, grow, and evolve. And today I want to talk about the spiritual ladder of evolution. I believe that's what I'm going to title this video, the spiritual ladder of evolution, or the different ladders of the spiritual realm. If this is your first time watching, welcome. My name is Sage, and on this channel we talk about things such as spirituality, metaphysics, and African history. So if that's something that you're interested in, just keep on watching. And I wanted to make this video because I feel like there's a lot of confusion about what is the spirit realm, what is evolution, and things and different types of beings and energies on each ladder or on each realm. So this is what I want to break down for you as simple as I possibly can. And I have this little diagram. So I'm going to be using this as reference. I wrote this in my journal about the spiritual realm and the ladder and different ones. So I'll use this as a reference and as a guidance as I keep explaining. So before I begin, I just want to explain how we all come from source creation. We use different words like the universe, God, source creation. People like exchange them, which is okay, but that can cause a lot of confusion. I believe that we all come from one ultimate source creation. That is the one ultimate force. And that branches off and it breaks off into different beings, different deities, different types of gods, and so forth. But we all come from one ultimate source creation. And I feel like this source creation, or the all, is so separate and so apart from this earth. It really has nothing to do with humans on this earth. Yes, we all come from that source creation. Yes, you are here to gain that experience, return back to that primordial, return back to that source creation version of ourselves. But that ultimate source is not even related or is not even intervened with the stuff that we do here on this physical 3D dimension. And so let me break that down for y'all. So there's different ladders, right? There's different beings, and we all come from that one God. Even animals, insects, plants, there's God in every single one of these things because it is a creation of God. The all source creation is so infinite and abundant. You can't just give it one name. You can't just have one thing for it because it is everything. It is infinite and it is abundant. So that's why there's so many different deities, so many different philosophies, so many different religions, so many different metaphysical explanations, so many different types of sciences to explain this one ultimate source creation because it is everything. And all of these different religions, spiritualities, these different deities, and the stories of these deities, it's all the same story, but it's just telling it from a different perspective. So if you look closely to Egyptian mythology, Sumerian mythology, Greek mythology, these are all telling the exact same story. It is the same people. It's just switched with a different name. It is the same story, just from a different perspective. That's how infinite and great and abundant this source creation we all come from is. You have to tell it in different ways, different perspectives, different stories to understand it. Even religion, it's telling the same thing, but it's hidden in code with religion. But that's a whole different story about that. But it's hidden in code. It is telling it the same exact story, but it's from a different perspective. Even both light and dark forces all come from God. Angels and demons, they all come from God. They are a part of source creation. It is everything you can think of. It is all a part. It is a different perspective of God. So in order for this source creation to get experience, it must first create an extension of itself. It has to create an extension of itself that doesn't have everything already, that is not infinite and is not abundant. And it must forget itself, forget who it once was in order to remember that, in order to begin that journey to grow and to evolve higher than what you once were. That is why every time we reincarnate onto this earth, we forget our memories, because if we already know who we are, really know our purpose, there would be no point in reincarnating because there would be no journey. There would be no experiences. There would be no growth. There would be no lessons or mistakes you learn from. So that's why we forget our memories. That's why we forget who we are in order to relearn those things. And by doing that, by going through these journeys, the experiences, we grow, we evolve higher than we once were before coming to this earth. So I also want to mention, a lot of us, me included, we say God as the universe for God. We like to exchange it, which is perfectly fine. But I also want to take note that there are many different universes just from this one. There's many different dimensional constructs just from besides this one that we live in. We talk about parallel universes, There's are thousands and infinite amount of different Earths, different universes created. So this is only one out of the infinite, out of the thousands of them. So which universe are you talking about? And which God that created that universe are you also talking about as well? I really hope this makes sense as of now. We're going to go through the ladder that I wrote on my journal, and I'll break it down for you as best as I can. So the first one is the animal, mineral, and plant kingdom. This is the kingdom that deals with all the things I said before, the minerals, iron, crystals, rocks, plants, animals, and is also where humans reside. So we're talking about the 3D realm right now. This is where we all reside. When we reincarnate, we come here in the 3D. There was once a time we were all, every single one of these things that I've mentioned, including the animals, including the insects, minerals, humans, plants. We were all once these things. It is all to gain experience. And like I mentioned earlier, there is essence of God in every single one of these things. So this is the 3D realm, the one that we're currently in. As we go up to the 4D dimension. Now we're talking about the 4D right there, if you can see that. So the 4D, this is when after somebody passes, they don't cross over completely. Maybe if they have too many attachments to Earth, too many regrets, they weren't conscious enough, they didn't have enough consciousness to raise their vibration, to elevate their soul, this is where they land. And oftentimes they land in the 4D. So this is where ghost entities and low-level spirits reside in. And a lot of these spirits stay here for hundreds of years because there is just no consciousness of where they are. Some of them don't even believe that they're dead. Some people who, after they pass, they forget why they're there. They forget that they even died because the 4D world looks just like Earth. The only difference is you're in the 4D. It's just a little bit elevated. It's a little bit higher dimension than Earth, but it still comes with lower level entities. It still comes with ghosts, spirits, low vibrational forces who reside in this dimension. So if you don't raise your consciousness or you believe that nothing happens after you die, if you're waiting for Jesus to come save you, a lot of times people end up here in the 4D realm. If you astral travel or you astral project, many times you are in the 4D realm, 4D dimensions, and you can see these type of beings. So the next ladder we're going to go up is your ancestors, people who have come before you. Yourself from a past life is considered an ancestor. And so there is an ancestor realm where we go towards if we're able to cross over out of the 4D. So your ancestors a lot of times are going to be in the 5D and up because these are your family members, blood-related relatives who have crossed over, who've gained enough consciousness, understanding, and awareness of this world, this universe. And so this is where they reside in. And your ancestors, not all of them are good, but the ancestors who have good intentions for you, guide you, protect you, they send you messages, they send you direction and guidance through this realm. So when you're communicating with them, you're communicating in this ancestor realm. This is where they are. And a lot of times ancestors, after we've passed, they leave a piece of their spirit that contains memories, contains information of who they were once on this earth to help and guide us. Sometimes they leave a piece of their spirit, they leave a piece of their soul here to help guide us in the ancestor realm, and then the remaining of their soul, they return back to the other side. Next up on this ladder, this is spirit guides, elevated ancestors, your Egbe family, and saints. So these are elevated beings who are just a little bit more conscious. So they do the exact same thing. Your spirit guides are here to help you and guide you. They're also here to extend any help specifically in their specific fields. If you're looking to gain more knowledge in a specific area, you can reach out and communicate with these beings and they're able to do so. Think of your Egbe as your spiritual family. We have family in the spiritual realm. Different from our ancestors. Our ancestors are blood relatives that were here in the physical. Our Egbe Arun is more of our spiritual family. We may have got married on the spiritual world. We may have kids on the spiritual world. We may have close friends, close relatives in the spiritual world before coming down here on earth. These people are your Egbe. Okay, next up we have ascended masters. So these are ancestors, people who have elevated enough and gained enough consciousness past the 5D, and so they've risen up into higher dimensions. Your ancestors could be ascended masters. You in your past life could be an ascended master. They have more consciousness, more awareness, more activated DNA, activated information within themselves, and they've tapped into themselves just a little bit more, and they've risen up and they've evolved enough to enter higher dimensions. So the next ladder we're going to talk about is orishas slash angels slash archangels. You can kind of split these categories into two, with orishas and archangels, and then you can put slash angels, because archangels and angels are a little bit different. So orishas, these are deities, and they represent an aspect. They represent a specific consciousness, and they have master over that. So that's why there's orishas for love, orishas to represent fire, iron, children. So there's different orishas, different levels of consciousness that they master, and that is what they rule over. Or instead of orishas, it's pretty much any other deity in a mythology. But all of these gods, all these deities all still come from ultimate source creation, but they have elevated their consciousness so much that they have master over this one element, one emotion, these specific themes that they carry with them. That is what they have master and control over. So that is what they represent. But they all are connected, and they all come from source creation. So the next one after that is primordial beings. So what are primordial beings? So primordial beings are entities or a force that existed since the beginning of time, since the beginning of this universe, because primordial beings are the ones who created this universe, created this construct. They created this matrix. They created the different dimensions, the earths, the planets. The primordial beings are the one who created this. And there's different primordial beings that created different universes. So that's why I was saying earlier, which God are you talking about that created which universe? Because primordial beings were there since the beginning. They were there since the absence of light. When God said, "Let there be light," that was the primordial beings beginning this creation of the universe. They were there since ultimate chaos energy, because the energy of chaos is feminine energy. It came into existence with the absence of light. So it was just pure darkness. The same darkness that is in the cosmos, the same darkness in the stars, outer space, that is pure creation. That is pure chaos energy. That is what the primordial beings represent. And they're considered one of the most fundamental and one of the most powerful beings in existence, because they're almost as close as a connection to source creation. Because once source creation decided to separate itself to gain experience, it created the primordial beings. And then from so on, it created the universe, which created different dimensions for us to evolve, to descend, and in order to gain experience, knowledge, lessons, and return back to source. And I'm saying all of these gods or deities. In my opinion, I don't think these gods or deities are meant to be worshipped. We do not worship them, but we work with these beings. We work with these entities. We work with these consciousness. But I don't think we're ever meant to worship anybody. Because at the end of the day, I don't think that these beings are so far beyond us that it meant to make us feel small or make us feel less than, because we are all connected. We are all connected to our ancestors, all connected to these deities, because we all have that same connection that goes all the way back to source creation. So it's not something we're meant to worship, but work with instead. So these primordial beings are in their ultimate raw form, pure form of energy. Since the primordial beings also created the universe, you can also include the universe in the spiritual realm, in the spiritual ladder. And so after we go from the primordial being / universe, this is when we go back to the other side. This is where the true God, true source creation, this is where we all come from. This is from since the beginning of time. This is the ultimate source, the infinite, the abundant, the all. This is source creation. And this is where we all come from. But we branched off and we extended itself to gain more experience outside of itself. This is why we have different personalities, different thought forms, different patterns, different things we need to experience on this earth. It's very diverse, and it's meant to be that way. We're meant to have different opinions. We're meant to have different perspectives, and we can all evolve from different ways. We can all return back to source from different ways. There's not one ultimate way to evolve. Anyone says that in religion, if anyone says that, it's a lie. Ultimate source creation is infinite and abundant. So there's many different ways to return back to source. I feel like the principles is pretty much the same. You need to know thyself. You need to build consciousness. But how you do that's going to be different. And that's where the diversity, that's where the individualization comes into play. So that's how you build your own uniqueness and return back to who you once were. So in this part is after we reach source creation, we break free from the matrix, we break free from social constructions, we break free from this domain, and we return back to source. But that is an entire journey within itself. And many of us have been reincarnated on this earth for hundreds and thousands of years. A lot of us are old souls, and many of us have been reincarnated on this earth over and over and over again because we need to gain experience. We need to gain more knowledge to return back to that once who we were, return back to that infinite knowledge, infinite creation, infinite all, because the universe knows everything. The universe created everything. So in order for us to grow more and feel like we have, even just to feel worthy enough to be a part of source creation, we have forgotten our memories. We've forgotten who we once were, to go on this journey and experience, to evolve, to ascend the higher than once we were before. This is what spirituality is about, is to evolve. That's why my theme, my slogan is heal, grow, and evolve. We heal from the past, heal from traumas, we grow from it, and we evolve into higher dimensions. Even being in a 5D dimension is great because we finally break free from this earth. We've crossed over completely, but we're still in the illusion. We're still pretty much in this matrix. In order for us to return back to the other side, we need to keep climbing the ladder. We need to keep evolving. We need to keep growing. And we can still grow in the spiritual realm. We can still grow in these higher dimensions. But the whole goal, the whole aspect of this is to return back to source, return back to who we once were. We can be able, and we have the ability to create our own universe for ourselves if we choose to do so. You don't have to follow the laws and limitations of being on this earth. There's so much bigger and better and greater things out there in the higher dimensions waiting for us to experience on the other side. But we have to be able to do the work here on this earth to get to that point. So that is what spirituality is about. That is what we're here to do, to gain consciousness and to evolve. So the options are infinite. The options are limitless for us. And we have the power to choose what we're going to do with that. And that comes with great responsibility. So that's why we need to gain consciousness, gain awareness before we're able to tap into that power. So yeah, that is all I have for this video today. I hope it finds you well. I hope you learned something. I hope you learned something from this video. Let me know, what is something that you learned from this video, and what's something that intrigued you from me explaining the spiritual ladder, and what is something that you're looking forward to during this journey of spirituality and journey of evolution. But if there's anything else specifically you want me to make a video on or to mention more on, let me know down in the comments. And until next time, y'all, I will see you on the next video. Bye, y'all.